everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, then welcome. My name's Charlotte, and if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. So I'm doing another episode in my Girl Talk series, and I asked over my Instagram for some questions or some topics to talk about in relation to body image and body confidence, because those are two things that I feel like most of us have had some sort of battles with or been on our mind at some point in our lives, and it definitely is been something in my mind that I've struggled with for many years. So this video is going to be all about body image, body confidence. Perhaps you just do maybe a trigger warning in the beginning of this video. If anything relating to weight, eating, those sorts of topics trigger you, please don't watch this video, because I am going to be talking about topics relating to weight, losing weight, gaining weight, and restrictive and binging eating behaviours in this video. So if you're triggered by any of those, please turn off, don't watch this video. So yeah, that is what this video is going to be about. So let's get into it. So like I said, I asked over on my Instagram for some topics or some issues or anything in relation to body image and body confidence, and a few of you have sent some messages, and actually I got some really lovely private messages as well, quite long. So if you have sent me any messages or topics or shared something with me, then I just want to firstly say thank you so much for doing that, and I really do appreciate you reaching out and sharing private and perhaps sensitive topics with me, because it takes a lot for people to do that, and I really do appreciate it. So obviously anything that I'm going to share is going to be anonymous. I'm not going to share people's names. The only thing that I will be sharing is what people have said and my own story. So let's start with the first topic. So somebody has said, has lockdown changed your mindset and body image at all? And I would think it would be wrong of me to say no. I feel exactly the same. I feel fine. Lockdown hasn't changed my mindset at all about body image, because it definitely has. And I think it's kind of impacted it in a positive and in a negative way. I'd say firstly the negative is maybe that I struggled with my weight a lot a few years ago. I was a bigger size than I am now. Well, to be fair, I actually think I'm about the same size as what I was, but I weighed a bit more than what I weigh now. And at that time, that's not really where the issue was. I had, I've mentioned on my channel before in a story time that I did, that I had an unhealthy relationship with food. I've said that before. So if you haven't watched that video, then I suggest watching it. I'll leave it's in the iCard. But just a brief overview, if you haven't watched that video, is a few years ago when I was a teenager, I struggled with my eating. I recently had moved schools, and because it was a change that I hadn't made myself and it felt out of my control, I think I controlled it with eating, and I just put on quite a lot of weight quite quickly, and then went up quite a few dress sizes. From that, I then really restricted, like I think I shocked myself into how much weight I had gained, because I think I gained a couple of stone. So then I went from being one size pretty much in my life to a completely different size, and that really was a huge shock to me and to my body. So then I went from like overeating to the complete opposite of restrictive eating, undereating, and starving myself of the calories that you're meant to have each day. So I think the lockdown made me realise that I thought I was over all of that. I thought I'd got over the overeating and then restrictive eating sort of pattern of like an unhealthy relationship. And I think what's made me realise is that you'd never fully 100%, I'm over it, I'd never do that again, I don't think like that at all. And I think the lockdowns made me think, actually, yeah, I think that mindset is maybe always there. You just got to not listen to it so much and change your lifestyle habits and those sorts of things. So because obviously the lockdown was out of our control, and I think I'll do a whole video separate to this, another Girl Talk maybe, all about specifically with like anxiety and mental health, because that's become a huge part of my life recently. But because the lockdown was out of our control, we couldn't see friends, we couldn't see family, we couldn't do anything, we weren't going to work, some people had lost jobs, like because things were so out of my control, I think I replaced that with I started to eat again and started to comfort eat. I was bored, so I was eating. I wasn't doing anything, so I was eating. I was breaking up the day with the meals that I was going to have. And I do think a lot of people did that. Is that you weren't doing anything else. The only thing to look forward to was like what we're having for breakfast, lunch or dinner. And because we were all off work, because we were all furloughed, nobody could go into work around like the very first lockdown, I definitely was like, right, let's do like a really fun breakfast, let's do a fun lunch, fun dinner, like all of the foods that made me happy and were a comfort. I had them a lot and quite often, and I really shocked myself actually with how much food I was eating. And one of the things that I've gone back and forth many times with is the calorie counting apps that you can download, like MyFitnessPal being the main one. A few years ago, back when I was in that quite negative mindset of like binge eating and restrictive eating, I downloaded my fitness app, MyFitnessPal, when I was under eating, so I was tracking everything. And I'd not touched that app for years because I knew it wasn't healthy for me to have it. And then I was just curious. So beginning of lockdown, and I'm aware that I'm going on a complete tangent because of this, but that's what these girl talks are about, is mainly just to feel like chatting with a friend and to have open conversations. I was just really curious. I knew I'd gained weight, I felt it, I felt uncomfortable, my clothes weren't fitting, but I was just actually curious as to how many calories I was consuming a day. And I really shocked myself. Like, I was having over 3,000 calories a day when I tracked what I was eating. And I actually, this is the thing that kind of surprised me, is that I actually thought I was eating fairly healthy. I didn't feel like I was overeating. I wasn't having like Domino's breakfast, lunch and dinner. So in my mind, I wasn't eating too bad. And then I was looking at the calories and I was like, right, I can see where I'm going wrong. And I did then start to try and track the calories again and get within a certain like calorie deficit of, so I could lose weight and exercise and tracking that and everything. And I was tracking everything again and a bit too much. So to kind of like conclude that whole spiel, has lockdown changed my mindset? Yes, because my body has changed a lot during lockdown, and I think it's made me realise that issues that I'd suffered with in the past and thought I completely got over and would never feel like that again started to creep back in, like the binging and then the restrictive behaviours didn't fully set in, but I could see how they could very easily come back. And I think that's what I've picked that up, I've acknowledged it, I know that that was happening. I'm doing things to stop that from fully coming into like full blown calorie counting and being restrictive. So yes, lockdown has changed my mindset and body image, because my body image has changed massively. So yes, it has, to answer that question. So then the next one, I'm looking down because I've got my laptop, is someone said, restrictive eating habits returning because of lockdown, any tips? And that links very closely to what I've just been saying, and I have looked at these questions before, so I knew that this was going to come up. Any tips on restrictive eating habits? If it's really restrictive and really unhealthy, and you're unhealthily really restricting yourself, then the only advice I could give is go to a doctor, because it's not something that I could personally say that you should do this and then you'll be fine. Because if it's really restrictive, too restrictive, then you need to go and see a GP and do something so it's not super restrictive. In terms of like what I just described with my like binging and restrictive eating habits, because like I said, I am quite open about my past and what I've dealt with. I have dealt with restricted eating habits a lot when I was younger. So any tips for how to deal with it? In terms of how I dealt with it, is I acknowledged that I was doing it and try to eliminate the factors that I knew would be a big enabler for those habits. So for me, what really encouraged me to be restrictive was the clothes that I was trying to squeeze into, comparing myself to not only like what the people look like, but also like previous pictures of what I look like. So I'd look at old pictures of me and be like, oh my god, I can't believe I used to be that skinny. And I know people do that every now and again, and just a little comparison of like, wow, I look so different isn't super unhealthy. It's like, oh, okay, like I looked so different back then, like different now. As long as that's not like, oh my god, I looked amazing back then and I look horrible now, I hate the way I look now. As long as it's not super like wow, look what I look like, then I guess a little comparison's okay. But yeah, what I did was recognise those enablers. So like I said, not fitting into my clothes. The tips for me had to be that I had to accept that my body image has changed massively over the past year to 2 years that we've been in this lockdown, year and a half. So I have to accept the new body that I've got, because there's no way that I can't. Like, it's my body, I'm in it every day, it carries me to where I need to go every day. I look in the mirror every day, I get dressed every day. So the clothes that I put on need to fit the body that I'm in right now. And I did struggle mentally a little bit with the idea of like buying a bigger clothing size, because I've always been pretty much a size 12. So whether that's a small size 12, so probably I could fit into 10s, but I'd still just wear my 12 because I liked when things felt loose. Or if I put on a bit of weight, then my 12s were a little bit tighter. But my 12s have always fit. My weight has always fluctuated. I think it always will. I've never been the type of person that my weight stays the same no matter what. It's always fluctuating. So for me, a size 12 has always fit me. So I'm either a small 12 or I'm a big 12, but either way, I'm a 12. And because I've put on more weight than I would typically do if I gain weight, my 12s don't fit. And that's not to say that if you are bigger than a size 12, because I will come on to something like this later, that's not to say that you should feel like ashamed that you're bigger than that size. It's just knowing what you feel comfortable at and where you usually see your body. And where I would usually see my body fit into one type of clothes, or the style of clothes, or just the clothes that I have in my wardrobe, and they no longer fit into that, or no longer comfortable where I was, that's when I was like, right, okay, I need to order a bigger size because I just don't fit into my clothes. I think it mainly dawned on me when I went back to work about a month ago now that I went back to work. So, or maybe even 2 months ago actually, I'm not too sure. But I put on my work trousers, which again are a size 12. And when I left work back in November and went on furlough, I was at the slimmest I've been for a long time. So my size 12 trousers were pretty loose. So I put on my 12s and went to work, bent over to pick something up, and my trousers split because they were too tight, like really, really uncomfortably irritable, just too tight and very obviously tight. Like, I just knew that they felt uncomfortable. And I haven't been a size 14 for many years. And for me, the last time that I was, when I was at my heaviest, I was a 14, which back when I was that size, I had an unhealthy mindset of like numbers of clothing items and what that correlated to making me feel. Now I feel differently. I'm just like, wear the clothes that fit you. It doesn't matter what the label says. If it fits you, then who cares? Like, and actually my friend summed it up really well, because my friend has she went to come and see me a couple of days ago. She asked me to be a bridesmaid. She's getting married very, very soon. I said, oh, I've got to squeeze into a bridesmaid dress. She said, no, you don't have to squeeze into the dress will fit you. So I think that's how I'm trying to change my mindset. So the first step for me for having more restrictive eating habits coming back was to change the things that I knew made it worse, which was buying a bigger size of clothes. I had to, because my clothes didn't fit, and if I keep trying to put them on and keep reminding myself, you're big, you need to lose weight, you need to be restrictive, you need to eat less. So if I remove that thought of you don't fit into your clothes, you're this, you're that, then I'm taking away something that would like enable my restrictive habits to come back. So I bought clothes that were a bigger size that actually fit me. Then I decided to come off my fitness pal. I still have it on my phone, but I do it now just to track steps that I do at work, because I do so many. I'm just curious, but I don't track my food no more. I don't track the calories because I've noticed, I've registered again, that it's not healthy for me to count every meal, to count every calorie. I eat when I want to eat, I eat intuitively. So when I feel like, oh, do you know what, I really fancy a pizza, I'll have a pizza. Some days I really genuinely do fancy something that's healthy, like a salad. I had a salad for lunch, not because I'm trying to be healthy, just because I fancied it. I eat when I'm hungry and I eat stuff that I want to eat, so I eat intuitively. So I've got rid of my fitness pal, I've bought clothes that are a bigger size, and I'm just trying to change my mindset as to this is the body that I'm in, this is the body that I'm dealing with. And yeah, that's how I've tried to change my restrictive eating habits. And if yours are coming back, I'd say acknowledge the things that are a trigger for you and that enable you to be restrictive. For me, like I said, I had to buy a bigger size of clothes, so when I don't fit into clothes, that's when my thoughts start to go. And I got rid of the calorie counting and fitness apps because it was just too much. It enabled my restrictive habits. So that's what I would say. Notice what makes you want to be more restrictive. If you can, eliminate them. If not, work to try and slowly get off them. If not, again, go back to a doctor and talk to somebody or a therapist or something like that if you need more help. So that's what I would say when it comes to that topic. And then the next question is, somebody says tips on accepting a new body shape / size. So I think majority of us have changed, our bodies have changed over lockdown. Some people are, I mean, good for you if that has been you, have really got into our fitness, got ourselves into shape, best shape of your life. And if that is you, then not to me as patronising or any way, shape or form, but good for you if that's what you've chosen to do. Other people have taken the time, or not taken the time, should I say, they've maybe lost that sense of control, and the control has been replaced with food. We're not going out as much, we're not moving our bodies as much, so naturally the weight has come on. And that has been the case for me, at least. I'm not moving my body as much, I'm eating a bit more food, so the weight has naturally come on. And tips for accepting a new body shape or size is that it doesn't happen overnight. You can't just say be body positive. And this is the body positivity movement is so huge, and this is what I've come to learn from seeing other people's videos, is that you don't have to love your body all of the time. Yeah, it's good to be body positive and to love every shape and size that you're at, because your body is so much more than what you look like. It keeps you alive, it takes you from one place to another. In some cases, or a lot of women's cases, your body has produced a new another human. So but if it's in the sense of tips on accepting a new body shape or size because you've isolation aside, because you've given birth, ultimately, and I know it's hard, I'm not a mum, so I can't say I've never been through this, but the bigger picture is your body has literally created a human, a new life, and that is the most amazing thing in the world to me, that your body has been able to create. It works miracles, the fact that it can create a human and you've birthed a human. Tips on how to accept it is, it doesn't happen overnight. You've got to give yourself time to work through the journey of what your body used to look like and what it looks like now. If it's necessary, delete the pictures of what you used to look like. If you want to, and if it's positive and if it's healthy, you can use an old photo of you to be motivation for you to be a bit fitter. But if it's in a sense that you're looking at an old picture of you and you're like, I need to get back to that, I must get back to that, you will never look like that, because in the old picture, you hadn't given birth. You hadn't had a human. Your body will never look the same if you've given birth and if you've had children. And it's so easy to say that when you haven't had kids yourself, my body hasn't gone through that change, so it's very easy for me to say your body will never look like that. You've given birth to a human, look at a bigger picture, because I've not gone through that journey myself, and I'm sure when I do, and I'm hoping I'm still doing YouTube when I go through that journey, because I'd love to document it, that I will be looking at things a little different. Okay, yeah, I know in the grand scheme of things I've given birth to some a human, a baby, but I'm really struggling with my body image. I'm sure I'll have a different mindset and tips for when I've gone through that personally, but because I haven't, I can't give a perspective on it. But give yourself time. If you need to, delete all pictures of yourself if it's in health and you keep looking at it and think, I need to get back to that, I must get back to that. And start to recognise what your body can do. So even if it's as small as I'm grateful that I'm happy and I'm healthy. I'm grateful that my body can carry me to and from work every day. I'm grateful that my body has enabled a new life to come into the world, if that's what it is. And eventually your new body, if it's new because you've had a baby or new because you've changed, your body image has changed because of isolation or lockdown, eventually that will become the norm and you'll know how to dress for that body shape. It will become the norm. But it is hard to accept it if it looks completely different to the way that you've always been used to it looking. And all I can say is that it takes time. Don't expect it to happen overnight. You don't have to absolutely love every part of your body all the time. You can just love one part each day. Like, do you know what? I don't like the way my hair looks today. I don't like the way that my stomach looks today, but my God, my legs look good. If you look at it like that, and you don't have to look at the body as a whole, and you just think, okay, I don't particularly like this area of my body, but you know what I do really like? I like my arms, I like my legs, I like my eyes, I like my smile, I like my teeth. Or maybe like I like my tummy, I like, some people can like so many different parts of themselves. If you just work on what you do like as opposed to what you really hate, what you must change, then maybe that will start to change your mindset. But that's all I can say on that front, because I've gone through that journey myself of like my body image changed over lockdown, and how do I come to adjust to this new body and how do I dress for it. It can be really difficult and challenging, and it doesn't happen overnight. So just give yourself time and accept that you've gone through a lot, whether it's childbirth, whether it's the pandemic. Your body and your mind has gone through so much. Allow yourself time to catch up, and if you want to change and work on yourself, whether that's getting a bit fitter, then fine, do that, but don't pressure yourself for it to happen instantly. And I think I need to take some of my own advice as well, because I would be lying if I said I didn't 100% feel like that all the time. I have quite a few weddings coming up, friends' weddings coming up. I'm a bridesmaid at those weddings. My first thought was obviously congratulations, I'm so happy for you, I can't wait. But the second thought was like, oh my God, like my body doesn't look how it used to look. Like for one of the weddings, because it should have happened like way back when, my bridesmaid dress is a size 10 and I'm now a 14. The dress has already been bought because it should have happened a while back. And in my head, I'm like, oh my God, like I need to lose weight so I can get into that dress. Like when I had that dress, I was a size 10 and now I'm a size 14. Like, what am I going to do? But the wedding's not now. It's a couple months away. I can give myself time. For me, I do want to lose weight because I feel uncomfortable at the minute. And I know where I feel comfortable. That's not to say that I'm going to lose loads of weight and get really in shape. I just know where I'm comfortable and this is not it. But whilst I am here, I'm going to give myself time to accept that my body has changed because the world has changed. And I am taking steps now to do things about it and to feel comfortable again. But I'm not going to beat myself up and hate myself because my body looks the way it does right now, because so many things have been out of our control. So yeah, another long rambly answer to that one, but I just want to give an open and honest advice to these questions that these girls are asking, because some of these people might be pretty desperate and really need some answers. So yeah, I think it's important to be honest. So moving on. So another one is someone just said stretch marks, hip dips and weight gain. Stretch marks, I think we all have stretch marks. I did suffer, like I really struggled with stretch marks for a while when I had first put on a lot of weight really quickly, because the stretch marks were everywhere and really quick. I have like pretty big stretch marks on my hips, and at the time I was really embarrassed because they were really big, they were red, like it was just like another mark on my body to say like you've gained weight, you've let yourself go. Now, because they're faded, I don't even look at them, like I don't even, like it's not something I even think about anymore. I'm not self-conscious of them. They're just a part of my body and they've just become a part of me, like I don't even think about it now. So stretch marks, I think we all have them. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. The same as cellulite, same as hip dips and weight gain, like we've all gained a bit of weight. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. And I think for me what's really important is following people on social media that reflect a more of a not normal body type, because what is normal, just because someone might be size 6 and naturally lean doesn't mean that their body's not normal. It's just that's what their body looks like. And I don't think we should either shame people that are naturally skinny just because this whole body positive movement of mid-sized girls and plus-size girls has become like, let's accept this as a normal, and everyone that's skinny is not normal, because there are people that are naturally skinny and lean and people that are desperate to gain weight. So if we're shaming that body image, then that's like, the body positive movement is not doing what it's meant to be doing if we're thinking about it like that. But stretch marks definitely in cellulite are so normal, and it definitely needs to be more normalised. And for me, it's really important to follow people on social media that either reflect what for me is considered more of what looks like my body type, which is mid-sized girls, and body types that aren't super airbrushed, filtered and polished, because for me that doesn't reflect normal bodies. That's not to say that I've never put a filter on or I've never photoshopped myself, because I definitely have in the past because I was insecure, but I would not do it now just because I don't want to put out an image of myself that is so unlike me, because I would just feel that why is not my body not okay as it is? Why do I have to filter it? Who am I doing that for? Who am I trying to please or kid that my body looks like that when it doesn't? But I have stretch marks on my hips. Like, I'm not afraid to show you. I have stretch marks all up my side and on the other side. That's, I don't know if you can see them, but I have quite big stretch marks. Yes, I do have pajama bottoms on because I'm not going out anywhere. So yeah, I just wanted to point out, and just to show you, people have stretch marks. Mine are pretty big. They have faded, so it's not something that I even see or notice on my body anymore, just because it's become part of my body. No, I haven't had children. The stretch marks are purely from weight gain. So I think the best way to kind of deal with it is just to, maybe if we normalise that that's what bodies look like, and there's nothing to be ashamed about, then maybe it will become something more, like, it will be less of a taboo or less of a topic to talk about, because it will just become normalised. So yeah, we all have them. I definitely do, and I'm not ashamed of them, and you shouldn't be either. So the last scenario I'm going to talk about is one that I got sent through a private DM, and is almost like a, not a story time, but like a anecdote of somebody who wants to share part of their story with me. So again, I'm not saying who, I'm just going to read out what this person has sent through to me on Instagram. It reads, I've always been very lucky in that I have never really struggled with weight and being a size 8 for most of my teen/adult life. However, when I was about 17 or 18, the boobs and hips just grew out of nowhere, and it was like I woke up and they were there. I've been quite insecure about my hips, especially as I have a smaller waist, which makes them bigger. When at university and gained a bit more weight from drinking, I was shown halls and then in a house with girls that were plus size and often discussed their weight. When trying on outfits for a night out or something, I would often get told I wasn't allowed to be insecure about my body because I was a size 8-10, and couldn't complain about being insecure about my hips being big or my stomach being bloated because I wasn't plus size and could fit into size 8 or 10 clothes. It was as if because I was not plus size, I wasn't allowed to feel insecure about my body, yet I still do, and it felt as if I was being told off for feeling insecure. So firstly, I have, like, holding my hands away, I've definitely been that person at university and in my life where girls that have been a smaller size than me have complained about their body, and I've said, I would love to have your body, like, you have nothing to be insecure about. And now I really regret saying that, because it's almost like dismissing that somebody could possibly be insecure because they're smaller than you, or because if you look like that you wouldn't be insecure. But everybody is allowed to have insecurities or have things that they feel like they are a bit self-conscious of. Everyone's allowed to have those, and just because someone might be a smaller size does not diminish the fact that they might be insecure. And I've done this and had it done to me, because even recently I've said, and like if I'm at work, for example, and I've said even to customers or something, oh, like, I've, you know, the lockdown weight gain, we've all had it, because I'm running around a lot. And I said, oh gosh, you're doing loads of running around. I said, oh, it's fine, working off the lockdown weight. And they're like, oh, don't be silly, like, or you can't be insecure, or shut up, you're skinny, like, don't talk about that, you can't say this, you can't say that because you're skinny. And it's like, just because I might have a smaller body type or frame to you does not mean that I don't have insecurities and I've not struggled. Otherwise the eating disorders of anorexia wouldn't exist if we told people that were skinnier than us that they couldn't be insecure. People with anorexia, I'm sure, are extremely insecure, hence why they restrict their eating and their habits so much. So I think like things like this, dilemmas like this, well, not dilemmas, but you know, stories like this, when people say, I'm a smaller girl, I am insecure, and I've had people almost tell me off before because I'm not allowed to be insecure because I'm a size 8 or 10. Yeah, they are insecure. They could be even more insecure than somebody, you know, a bit bigger, because people have told them you have no right to be insecure, and they're like, but you know, my body's changed through puberty and I'm not sure how I feel about it. So I wanted to shine a light on this side of body image and body confidence, because I think it needs to be addressed, that just because someone wants maybe be smaller or have a body type that you would love to have does not mean that we should go around telling people that they can't be insecure or feel like they want to change their body in any kind of way. And now that that's been pointed out to me, I've realised that I've done it myself and people have done it to me, and it's so annoying when someone says you have no right to be insecure because of X, Y and Z and they'd love to look like you. That's great, but you don't live in my head, you don't know how I like to look, you don't know what I feel comfortable in, you don't know how my body's changed, so you have no right actually to tell me that I shouldn't be insecure about my body. And I know that people are probably doing it to be polite or to say, like, or as a compliment, to say like, I would love to look like you, if I look like you I won't be insecure. Thank you that you would like to look like me, but I really struggle looking like me as it is, so just bearing that in mind. And even as I was reading that story, there was definitely moments where I caught myself thinking, like, small waist, big hips, like, isn't that what every girl would like to look like with the hourglass figure? But going through puberty, and if you've always been very naturally skinny, size 8, and you've had, you know, body changes from looking like a girl to very womanly and curvy, I can understand that's a huge change. You're like, whoa, where has this come from? And you could struggle to accept that, oh my god, my hips are so much bigger than what they used to be. I'm not sure how to dress, or I'm not sure if I want them to be on display. I don't know if I want everybody looking at how my body's changed and commenting on my body. I think we should also stop commenting on people's bodies so much. And I've seen this being said a lot recently, especially about pregnant women. And I'm trying to not do it so much, because it's almost like as soon as somebody gets pregnant, you're automatically allowed to say like, wow, you're so big, like, wow, your bump is huge. And it's like, do you know that pregnant person is going through so much, their hormones are all over the place. Do they really want to be told that they look massive? Probably not. Or do they really want to be told, wow, you're tiny, like, is there even a baby in there? Wow, you're so small. And it's like, maybe they really want a big bump, and maybe that, you know, maybe we should just stop commenting on each other's bodies so much. I think there's ways to go about it where you can compliment somebody and they look really nice, like, wow, you look really lovely in that dress, that dress really suits you, it really compliments you. But to really point out, wow, this, that and the other, your legs look super skinny, your legs look like twigs. Like, when I was going through my restrictive eating habits and I lost a lot of weight, people automatically felt they had a right to tell me just how skinny I looked, which, you know, why you don't have the right to tell me the way that my body looks. So I think maybe we should be mindful not to point out some, you know, comment on somebody's body so much, especially if you think, oh, well, just because you're part of one community, for example, like the plus size girls, doesn't mean that you should shame somebody that isn't plus size. Or if you're skinnier, doesn't mean you should then shame somebody that is plus size because they don't look the way that you look. And I struggled a little bit when I was around 16 and I was trying to find my prom dress. I think I might have said this before, because at the time I was a size 14, but I was a little heavier than I am now. And I really struggled because back then I didn't really feel like the mid-size community like it is now was as, I don't know, maybe not as vocal. So when I was going prom dress shopping, I really struggled because I wasn't a sample size. I wasn't size 6, size 8, I wasn't plus size. So I was trying on dresses, like nothing ever fitted me. I'd either be too big or way too small for me. So I struggled with not fitting into like the norms of like being sample size or not being plus size, because I was a mid-size girl, and I love being mid-size and I love seeing other creators that are mid-size. I follow people that look like me because it makes me feel more confident and knowing how to dress, what flatters. I mean, when I say what flatters you, bottom line, wear whatever you want. Just because it might be unflattering doesn't mean you shouldn't wear it. Wear what you want. I just like to wear things that flatter my body, and I know what I like to show and what I don't like to show. So that's what I follow online, is a lot of mid-sized girls, because that's what makes me feel good. But I don't think that we should always feel as though we have the right to comment on somebody's body or appearance, and because you never know how the person receiving that is going to feel. You could think you're complimenting someone, actually you've really insulted them and maybe triggered insecurity. So maybe let's just not do so much of the commenting on people's appearances and people's body image and body size. There's nothing wrong with complimenting people and saying like, I love your makeup today, because makeup we can change. Your body image is not something you can change straight away. So if you're going to comment on it negatively and someone can't change it instantly, then it just probably is not the most positive thing to do. But that is all the questions and issues that I got sent in. So I just want to say again, thank you so much if you shared a story, an issue, a topic with me. I really appreciate it, and I would love it if you were to leave me any topics or start any conversations in the comments down below, because this is definitely the type of topic that I think it can be very controversial. People have very different opinions about body image, body confidence, those sorts of things. I'm just sharing some topics, some issues, bringing certain things to light that I feel passionate about and getting a conversation going. So that is another episode in my Girl Talk series done. Like I mentioned earlier on in the video, I would love to do another one about anxiety or about mental health or depression, because that is something that I've really come to grips with and experienced personally in the past few years. So if you would like another Girl Talk about anxiety, then let me know down below and I would definitely be open for doing it. Other than that, please give this video a like, leave me comments in the description down below so we can start a conversation. Follow me on my Instagram, because that's where I post any questions or let you guys know first when I film a video and I want some topics or questions to answer. So go and follow me on my Instagram, and I shall catch you guys in my next video. Bye guys.